Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dugout. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues Harshit Ahuja, Shashwat Bhalla, and of course we are joined by Rahul Rawat, who is currently in England. He's following anything and everything relating to India's ongoing tour of England. We're just a sleep away from the all-important fifth and final test that's going to take place at the Oval, England. They are currently 2-1 up in the series here, and it's going to be a last chance for India to draw level, to basically make it 2-2. We take a look at the number of sessions that we have had in the first four matches or so. India currently lead them. Obviously, they won more sessions, but for some reason, England have won those crucial moments a little bit more better, and that's why they are the team who have that 2-1 lead. But this time around, it's going to be a pretty even Stevens contest once again, because England have been plagued by injuries. They are going to miss their regular captain Ben Stokes. He'll miss this match due to a shoulder injury. There is a return of Gus Atkinson, Jamie Overton and Josh Tongue, who earlier played a role in the series. And for India also, there are going to be a couple of forced changes here, with Rishabh Pant going to be ruled out due to a foot fracture. Anshul Kamboj, who performed rather poorly in the fourth test, he's more than likely going to be replaced. And still, question marks remain over Jasprit Bumrah. And I'm sure, we're going to discuss a lot more about what India can expect in this test. This has pretty much been a controversy-ridden series, and a lot of things off the field things have grabbed a lot of limelight. There has been some discussion about the oval pitch also. As the discussion progresses, obviously, we'll talk more about it. But Rahul, straight to you. First things first, how do you think would be the mood in the Indian camp, especially after what has happened the other day, Gautam Gambhir versus the oval pitch curator Lee Fortis?
Well, never a dull moment when Gautam Gambhir is around, be it the press conference, be it the dressing room, or even when he's on the field inspecting things, wicket, ground, even now the ground staff as well. But yeah, of course, I think the series has nicely spiced up, especially after that third test match, day 4 at Lord's. Thereafter, I think the Indian team has came back really well. In fact, they've earned a draw in the last game, and then of course the war of words over what Ben Stokes offered to do with or in fact asked the Indians, particularly Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar, to just settle for a draw, do not go for those hundreds, and then what happened yesterday. So I think India psychologically they had an edge. Why? Because they managed to keep England on the ground for say about 257 overs. So that's a massive. It's actually a very lengthy time to be on the field, especially in a test series like this. And this was not the first test match. This was the 4th test match of the series. So India definitely will go into the last test match with a lot of confidence. And now that Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer, both of them are out of the series, or out of the last test match, I would think that India should be able to draw this series 2-all at the Oval.
Right. Also, there's another story that's brewing on the sidelines of this, and Rahul, since you've been the one tracking that story for us, also happens to be in the same country as well. You've been covering those matches as well, as we all know. Could you also break things down on that front, on the WCL front as well? This is not the only thing that's making all the noise right now. We're getting to know that India have in fact withdrawn from the remainder of the match, once they said that they're probably not going to be playing the semi-final match against Pakistan. Could you share more details with us? And then, of course, we will circle back on this last test match.
So the official announcement has not been made, but I had a word just half an hour ago, and the official communication is on its way. The Indian players, they have withdrawn, and officially the ECB, because this tournament is taken care of, all the technical support and the rules, everything is done by the England and Wales Cricket Board. So they have also been conveyed. I'm also told that there was an offer made by the organizers that what you can do is usually what happens is number one ranked team plays the number fourth ranked team. Here, number one is Pakistan, number four is India. So there was an offer made to the ECB that is it possible if India can, one can play two and three can play four. But that was rejected by the ECB. And Indian players, they have maintained. And by the way, again, I think I'll have to say that majority of the Indian players have were reluctant to play. Reluctant as in they were not ready to play against Pakistan. So their stance has not changed. You would remember, I think they were supposed to play on 20th of July. And in between these 10 days, what has happened is the Asia Cup announcement has happened. So now that the Asia Cup was announced, BCCI put forth that proposal. I'm pretty sure that they must have gotten a go-ahead from the government. Now, despite that, the players have chosen to withdraw. So that's quite a statement from all these players. Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh, Yusuf Pathan, Irfan Pathan, Suresh Raina, Shikhar Dhawan, all these players. So they have withdrawn. And I know there was also a theory. In fact, I was told that some of these people were also trying to, in fact, the organizers were trying to, come up with a different Indian team. Not these players, but a different Indian team. But that was virtually impossible, especially at the 11th hour. Tomorrow is the game. So it's unfortunate, but the Indian players, hats off to them, that they've stuck to their guns. They chose not to play in that first game. Now they've withdrawn from the semi-final also. And you would remember yesterday, India played against West Indies, and they were supposed to, in fact, to qualify for the semi-finals. India needed to win that game in 14.1 overs, and they did that. But today, they chose not to play against Pakistan. So that's one version. But yes. I know it's unfortunate for the organizers and everybody, but looking at the backlash that these players receive, I think they've done the right thing as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's in a way weird also because I understand that the World Championship of Legends is not really a BCCI tournament or so. They don't really have any say in it, and that's why maybe the cricketers here like Suresh Raina, Shikhar Dhawan, and all these cricketers, they have basically had the say that we are going to boycott this Pakistan match. In fact, the same thing happened in the league stage also as far as the WCL tournament is concerned. I don't know. From a perspective, I don't really understand, what's the take of the Indian government is here. Because when all that thing happened, that unfortunate Pahalgam terror attack, then in response you had Operation Sindoor, and after that, there were a lot of voices that gained momentum that you should not play Pakistan, there should not be any cricket, cut all sporting ties. But now you're once again back to square one. You're not playing them in Siddharth, you're not playing
Siddharth, you tell me. You tell me. BCCI is the host for the Asia Cup, right? BCCI has given a proposal that we should play this year's Asia Cup in UAE, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. And now the Asia Cup has also been announced by the ACC, the Asian Cricket Council. Chairman is Mohsin Naqvi, the PCB chairman also.
Yeah.
So, do you really think that the BCCI would actually move so far ahead without a go-ahead from the government?
See, obviously, from a perspective, it does not really look like that BCCI would make a decision on its own to send a full-fledged team for the Asia Cup. There must have been some kind of consultation from the government. But what I'm really not able to understand is that if a party can take a stand against playing Pakistan in whichever tournament that they are going to be a part of, whether it's the league of retired cricketers or the current cricketers or whatever it is. For one party, it is still they're bold enough to take this thing. I think, quote unquote, for the other party, and I'm referring to the BCCI and obviously the Indian government here, I'm not really understand what's really stopping them to withdraw from all these games against Pakistan. See, you cannot withdraw from playing in ICC tournaments. That's not really going to happen. But when it comes to the matches against Pakistan, then what do you really do? I think that's where that's where things really get neutralized. That's where, you know, there is not any bold stance. In the past few months, what we have seen after Operation Sindoor, you've blocked all the social media accounts of the Pakistani actors and whoever you know, have that big following in India. But when it comes to making those big decisions, I don't think, you know, there has been any boldness being shown.
You know, a lot of people have asked me, what is your take? Do you think India should play Pakistan or should they not play against Pakistan? I've always maintained one thing. You know, before the Asia Cup was announced, I was asked the same question. I said India should not play against Pakistan, should not play the Asia Cup. Why? Because not that I don't want to see India play Pakistan in any of the. You know, what I would prefer is a policy decision. Either you play them or you don't. You take that call. It cannot be that one day you are playing in one tournament, you are playing ICC. I understand. So ICC, I will give them a benefit of doubt. But Asia Cup, or you know, if FTP would have been announced, a schedule would have been announced, or something would. This started from scratch. I know that BCCI had prepared a draft of playing the Asia Cup in UAE before the Pahalgam attack, but they went ahead with that. So I am saying, take a policy decision. It can't be that one day you are, you are a nationalist, a patriotic person in the country. Because I know for a fact that the players here in England, the WCL players, and these are no small fries, by the way. The list includes Yuvraj Singh, Shikhar Dhawan, Suresh Raina, Harbhajan Singh, Irfan Pathan, Yusuf Pathan. They are all big names in Indian cricket, in world cricket. So the amount of backlash that they had to go through was perhaps unprecedented for all these players. That you are actually declaring them that, you know, they are the gaddars of the country, all these things. So you have to take a policy decision. You can't have these players, or anybody for that matter, you or me, be subjected to this kind of criticism day in and day out. So take a call. If you want to play the Asia Cup, play. Then play WCL also. Then play every other tournament. Play every other series.
Right. Yes, Rahul, I totally sort of agree with you that you need a policy decision over here. The situation is extremely critical, as we know. But let's try and move on from this. Thank you so much, in fact, Rahul, for bringing us that particular update. But I request you to stay on. Also, in the studio happens to be our dear colleague in Shashwat, who's not like the fact that he's been mute for so long. So I'll pass the mic over to him. The floors for Shashwat to take us through the one image that's been doing the rounds at the moment, and that's the visual of the pitch. We see a lot of green at the moment at the Oval, but I'll allow Shashwat to give us the details of that, because this is, if you ask me, very much in accordance with the 11 that England have gone ahead and have named, beg your pardon. So over to Shashwat to bring us whatever that he knows about this pitch.
Just before I get into what exactly the pitch really looks like you mentioned, it has a quite heavy cover of grass. But just before that, I was about to ask Rahul sir exactly this myself, that I was just having a look at the visuals that were coming in from the Oval, where the England team, not just the captain or the coach, all of them were seen really getting onto the pitch, getting close to the pitch, with the very same curator who had a verbal spat in that sense with Gautam Gambhir. So something has really changed over the past 24 hours, Rahul sir, over there, as far as who is allowed to go on the pitch and who's not allowed to go on the pitch, how far away you're supposed to stay from the pitch. And very surprisingly, we see across venues across the globe that the wicket just ahead of one day before the game is covered with that rope, which we saw yesterday as well. From the visuals that I saw, that was
pretty common. That's pretty common.
Even that wasn't there today.
So you can have you can actually cordon off that particular area, and you also cannot, as in you may or may not cordon off that particular area. Usually you do, and in fact, if I remember correctly, I can't remember correctly where all did I see that kind of. I think I can't actually remember, but it's a common feature. There's nothing surprising, to be very honest. But yeah, because what happened yesterday was actually unusual, because we've seen players, coaches, Rahul Dravid. I remember the first thing anywhere he lands at the airport, the first thing he used to do as a coach, that he would drive straight away to the venue, to the ground, and the first thing that he would do is he will have a look at the wicket. And you would have seen players kneeling down on the wicket, checking the grass or the wicket. It's a very common thing. This is the reason why I was a little surprised as to why the chief curator did what he did yesterday. He objected to that. They wanted to place that or keep that ice box on the ground close to the wicket. He objected to it. Fair enough. But then Indian players not being allowed to go near the wicket was something unprecedented and very unusual. I think Gautam Gambhir, we can always say that he could have chosen better words. He should not have argued so much. But then I think he was absolutely right what he did. Had it been anybody, everybody would have been annoyed. It's just that I don't know if anybody else would have taken it this far.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Sitanshu Kotak there, he did present the side of the story that it was something about the ice bucket too, and obviously he also alleged the fact that some of Lee Fortis did not really speak well with some of the members of the support staff of Indian team, and that was one of the major reasons why Gambhir was irked. But I think coming back to the oval pitch that obviously we were discussing has a lot of grass cover on it. We take a look at England's playing 11. They've had a couple of forced changes. Ben Stokes is out. Ollie Pope is going to be the captain. You have Chris Wokes. There is Gus Atkinson who is making a comeback.
Bethel comes in. We've been waiting for a very long time actually to see Jacob Bethel in this series in place of Ollie Pope, but unfortunately he's come in especially after Ben Stokes has gotten that injury, and now Jacob Bethel will give that batting depth to that English side. But as far as the wicket is concerned, Rahul sir, we have seen this on many occasions in the series, that there has been a lot of grass cover 2 days and 1 day minus to the game, and then cut to when you arrive on the day of the game. Suddenly that grass has been shaved off, and it is the regular 2.5 mm grass that you leave. That is a standard practice all throughout. So do you see that that's going to happen even tomorrow, keeping in mind the weather conditions, or there is going to be adequate amount of grass cover to help the fast bowling that England is going in with in this test match?
Well, that will be a risk if England is actually going to leave that much of grass, because a day before the test match they do shave off a bit of grass from the wickets. But that will be a risk for England, and are they prepared to take that risk? Whether they want to, because in that case it is either going to be win or a loss. Either they can actually, if they are thinking that we have fresh legs in our bowling department with Jamie Overton coming back as in the squad and now making it to the 11 also. Then Gus Atkinson is also making a comeback. Then you have Josh Tongue also coming back into the 11. There's no Jofra Archer, and of course, as you said, Ben Stokes too. So that's going to be this. If you would remember, I think 2023 it was, England had toured India. So India won the first game. Then Australia came to India. India won the first game in Nagpur, then the second game India won in Delhi, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's right.
And the third game was in Indore, and Australia won that game. And what happened in the last game? During those days, it was a four-test series. India would travel to Australia, England, and England, Australia would travel to India, and they would play just four-test series, so four-match test series. So what happened in the fourth test match? Do you remember? The fourth
Ahmedabad,
test match was
a
in
flat deck.
and what sort of exactly? So if I would be England, what I would prefer, what would I would offer is a flat deck, or maybe
Point.
just a flat deck. So maybe what England are trying to do here is that they also know that Jasprit Bumrah is unlikely to play in this team in the 11, because three test matches are already over for Jasprit Bumrah, and he was always supposed to play just three test matches. Now maybe looking at this grass, if they leave a bit of grass, they perhaps maybe just want to ensure that India do not play Kuldeep Yadav in that 11. Because Kuldeep Yadav, for me, I think if he is playing, England will be in a lot of trouble. Because India, what they can do is, they will of course have Mohammad Siraj, they will have Akashdeep, and then one more seamer, preferably maybe just to add a bit of variety. They can have Arshdeep Singh, left arm seamer, or they can go back to Prasidh Krishna, thinking that he has a bit more experience than Arshdeep. Now what happens is Shardul Thakur or Kuldeep Yadav. So I don't think that they would want to face Kuldeep Yadav. Any sort of a wicket. Maybe just by showing that kind of a wicket, a bit of grass on that, they can just they are just giving an indication or a hint to the Indian team that please do not get Kuldeep Yadav in the 11. I think there is a seems to be as far as Kuldeep Yadav is concerned, I think it seems to be a divided house where I'm told Shubman Gill actually wants to have Kuldeep Yadav. He doesn't want Shardul. But then Gautam Gambhir prefers to have Shardul Thakur in the 11. So if they actually play out for a draw and give a very flat deck, a batting surface, a batting, a wicket that favors the batters. So in that case, what can happen is Kuldeep Yadav might just come into the 11. And that could be a little risky for England.
Rahul sir, very interesting. Two things I would like to ask you. First thing, I think this Kuldeep, because you've been there, you would have talked to a lot of players, you would know what exactly the mood is in that dressing room or while the Indian team is having that practice sessions. If I'm not wrong, there were reports earlier also, I think it was during the Lord's test, where there were debate that maybe Shubman Gill, even at that point of time, wanted to have a Kuldeep Yadav in the 11, whereas Gautam Gambhir was more inclined towards Washington Sundar, and that is when Washington Sundar got a go ahead and played that test match. And even now, like you just mentioned, that there is a division in the dressing room where again a Shubman Gill wants to play a Kuldeep Yadav and maybe a Gautam Gambhir wants to play Shardul Thakur. So has this been
Kuldeep Yadav at the expense of Shardul Thakur? See, now you just cannot drop Washington Sundar and or Jadeja. See, India's I think the preference given to Washington Sundar is not because he is a spinner. I think the preference they've given him is because he is a very good batter who can bowl. So that is, and they want to take their batting deep. So and to be fair, they lost the first test match, and the decision was perhaps to a great extent justified also when they won the second test match at Edgbaston. And then the fourth test match they drew. Had it not been Washington Sundar, you never know what could have happened in that game. So although I think you can also say that they scored to 670 runs in that first inning. If you would have played an out and out bowler like Kuldeep Yadav, maybe they wouldn't have been able to score those many runs. So that's one thing.
That's true. Just the other thing that I was about to ask you. On the contrary, you just mentioned that maybe England would risk a chance of a loss if they go in with a green wicket, where maybe the Indian bowlers sort of do exploit the conditions. But we saw this, and this is a conversation we have had on Sports Today quite a few times now about the wicket. Don't you think that if England goes on and gives a greener wicket over there, the chances of England doing better in terms of their batting able to acclimatize a lot more on these conditions versus an Indian batting order who might not adjust that much on this wicket? Wouldn't that be a better scenario for England, where they give a greener wicket? And because that's exactly what they have done since the Lord's Test, if I'm not wrong. Since they have since then they have tried to give a little more help to the bowlers so that their bowlers can also exploit the conditions, and then it comes down to which team bats better in these conditions. And then we have seen that the England team sort of is batting a little better than India in these conditions. So don't you think that giving green
Maybe
conditions, as we can see as with the team that they have played, maybe they are also a little more inclined into towards giving a lot greener conditions for this test match?
maybe yes, maybe yes, maybe I think if I am in that English camp, I would certainly do that. But then you also, I think Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum, they are also under pressure. Perhaps that is the reason why I have seen Ben Stokes. He's a mercurial figure. He's not like MS Dhoni or Owen Morgan, who are better man managers, who actually who are good at delegating duties. They get the best out of their players. Ben Stokes perhaps is somebody who takes it upon himself to do all these things. That if I'm going to score a century, I'm going to get 100. If somebody is not bowling well, I will bowl. I will bowl 10 overs on the trot. So that is one thing. But they are also under pressure, and that I realized after the Edgbaston Test match. The English media, you mentioned about the curator. So this is how it happens. The English media, the players, the crowd, the curator, everything. Everybody, it seems as if these 15, 16, 17, 18 players, they are fighting a battle not just against a team, English team, but they are fighting a battle against everybody. Look at the kind of questions that are fired at the Indian press conferences by the English media. I still remember there was nothing wrong in that question that was asked to Shubman Gill before the Edgbaston Test match. There was nothing wrong, but the tone, the tenor, the manner in which the question was asked, the language that was used, all these. Now, Shubman Gill the other day, I think just before the start of this test, last test match, he said, let me just clear this once and for all, that what happened at Lord's on the fourth day. So who asked that question? I was not worried. I was not bothered. None of the Indian journalists were bothered about what had happened at Lord's. Because after that, there was a massive gap. People had spoken about it. People had forgotten about it. Everything. So these things, they just try to poke you. They try to instigate you. What happened yesterday, I think that was just another example of what happens here. Why a press conference happens?
Okay.
For and it happens with the Australian teams also. So there is a press conference. Then what happens is they have the broadcasters, for example, in this case, Sky. So Sky will be given the first opportunity to ask questions. Fair enough. Now Sky will ask not one, but not two, not three, not four, possibly 5 questions on the trot. The representative from Sky Sports will ask 4 or 5 questions on. Okay. Then BBC, he will ask 2 or 3 questions. Then after the press conference is over, then they will have a roundtable press conference with only and only with the English media. Then there will be a few interviews, one-on-ones also. So if you actually treat your media this way, obviously the media will also help you with fighting off-field battles with the opposition teams.
Yeah. Are you still with us, Rahul? I think just the connection's a
Yes,
bit
yes.
choppy. Yeah. Okay, just wanted to
Yes,
cross
yeah.
check.
Perfect.
Okay, just want to open up this discussion as we build up to tomorrow's match. Since you guys briefly
It is India's
mentioned.
11, by the way. What do you guys think?
Sorry, Rahul, come again.
I'm saying, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
is
I
going
was
be
coming to
India's
that only.
threat
I was
tomorrow?
coming to that only since when Sarshwat asked you that question about whether this is the right thing for England to do or not by giving a green wicket like that. I want to just broaden the conversation up and I possibly think, and I don't know how many of you agree. Really looking forward to the thoughts. I think India are firstly sticking with Shardul, as Rahul had also pointed out. I don't know if this is necessarily a ploy to keep Kuldeep away. That I'm not too sure about, but I was just looking into some numbers as well, and of the 150 wickets that have fallen at this venue in the county in the last 5 matches, 131 have gone to seamers. That is a big number, and that tells you a story over there. So I'm not too sure if England are too bothered about Kuldeep, but what it tells me is that they're backing their pacers a lot over here. Gus Atkinson had a very good record at the Lords as well, but I don't know if they were preserving him for.
He wasn't really fit. He wasn't 100% fit.
And we heard stories about Mark Wood being preserved at least. So when I look at the fact that now they've gone in with 4 proper quick bowlers, they will have, of course, the routine bowling of Joe Root if they need to turn to spin. I don't know how much spin you will get over here, but when I put the two things together,
Jacob Bethel.
Yeah,
and
there's
Jacob Bethel as well. When I take a look at that particular stat and the wicket at hand, not taking too much into consideration what the visual that we've seen, but the playing 11 for England, I think that tells me that India will also probably have to stick with the Shardul Thakur.
Yeah, I think even I feel the same. It is going to be Shardul Thakur at 8. With that being said, obviously, Jadeja gets a batting promotion here. For me, obviously, Jadeja bats at 5. It's going to be, Dhruv Jurel at number 6, a straight swap for Rishabh Pant. Then there is Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur at 8. The 3 seamers that I'm going to go for will be Akashdeep, Siraj and Prasidh Krishna. So I'll, basically touch upon a couple of things here. That about Bumrah. Like Shubman Gill has kept it pretty open-ended, that the wicket is pretty green, we'll take a call tomorrow morning only.
Gulati, we all know that. We not because
True.
See, were we told at any point that Bumrah is not available for all times?
That's what they were told in the Edgbaston test also.
Exactly.
That's what they said.
But
Yeah.
Exactly. We were told then also that everyone's available, nobody is ruled out, a call will be taken. And now, let's be honest, there are 2 stats that we've gone over and over again. One, of course, is the fact that his pace has reduced. Then, of course, his efficacy as well. I was looking at his 140 plus deliveries that he's bowled. The most came in the first match that he'd played. Now they weren't even 1% of the deliveries.
0.5 to be specific. 1 out of
They had gone
198.
over 140. So I don't think, while Shubman Gill may have kept the door open, it had happened in the previous match as well. But I am assuming, and the match and the second test match as well, but I'm assuming that Bumrah is nowhere to be seen at the moment.
Very interestingly, none of you really mentioned Arshdeep Singh, and I somehow feel that there's a very big possibility that Arshdeep Singh plays tomorrow. And why I'm saying that, the reason for that is that we saw, I think that Prasidh Krishna, the team has already realized that maybe he's not suitable to the English conditions. Australia definitely was somebody who you could have really utilized, but as soon as you come to England, I think why I'm saying Arshdeep could really make his test debut tomorrow is that if Prasidh Krishna would have been in the scheme of things, he would have definitely played ahead of an Anshul Kamboj. We saw in the previous game that the team decided to go ahead of a Prasidh Krishna and decided to go with an Anshul Kamboj and not Prasidh Krishna. That clearly gives me the sign that maybe they're looking at a bowler who definitely has that ability to swing the ball. And just thinking about that, I feel that maybe tomorrow with an Akashdeep and Siraj, the third fast bowler, a very big high possibility for that could be that it is going to be Arshdeep Singh.
What is it that you're picking up, Rahul? Just running out of time with you, we thought we'll quickly take your thoughts on it. Lot being said in the Indian media, at least, perhaps that Arshdeep could be handed a debut.
Let me be very honest with you guys.
Hmm.
I think you guys already know I was to travel to London. I was in Birmingham, and I was to travel to London today. And right uh, on my right is the train station, just 100 200 meters from here. And I had got my ticket also, and I was to just board my train when I was told that the train is delayed. And because somebody actually a train hit somebody and that person is no more, so all the trains that were to go to Houston or London were all cancelled. So I was stuck here in Birmingham, and I haven't seen anything as far as practice is concerned. I haven't been able to speak to anybody since morning. So I have no idea as to what the combination could be. But if you ask me, I think your what Siddharth said. I think top four, five would be Ravindra Jadeja, six or seven could be Dhruv Jurel or Washington Sundar and then Dhruv Jurel. That is your number seven. Then I think 8, 9, 10, 11. Because the wicket looks maybe a little more friendly for the faster bowlers. I'm going with Arshdeep, Akashdeep, Mohammad Siraj, and then I'm going with Shardul or Prasidh. So basically, I'm saying India might actually play Prasidh and Arshdeep in the same 11. You never know. Although that usually India have always wanted to strengthen their batting. They've always
Yeah.
wanted to strengthen their batting because
So you're
especially if
basically
conditions
keeping
are
Mohammad Siraj out.
no. I'm saying
Four
Mohammad
fast
Siraj,
bowlers.
Akashdeep, and Arshdeep, and there could be another addition.
Okay,
It
okay,
could be,
fine.
you never know. Maybe Prasiddh Krishna might just be included in alongside Arshdeep, but
Okay, okay,
that
fine.
will weaken your batting.
Do
That
you
will actually lengthen your tail.
By any chance, do you see Jadeja coming at number 5 for this test match, as there is no Rishabh Pant and Jurel actually slotting
Hundred
at
percent.
6 or 7?
100%.
+1 to Rahul.
Hundred
+1.
percent.
Yeah.
Hundred
So
percent.
Jadeja comes in at 5, and then Jurel comes in at 6 or 7.
Yes. So also, I know they Jadeja.
Okay. I think, yeah, looks like we've lost Rahul for now. I think the connection it's a little tricky. But yeah, this is our 11 Shivam. If you can just show it to our viewers. This is something that, we have made. Obviously, the top four stairs. Another chance for Sai Sudarshan. He scored a 50 in Manchester Test. There is Dhruv Jurel, who is going to be a straight swap for Rishabh Pant. Whether he features at 5 or 6, that's something that remains to be seen. But one of the
Nobody had
common...
in
Ah,
Jagdishan.
he's going to be a backup now.
Yeah, he's definitely in the squad.
Yeah,
Backup
definitely.
or not, we'll come to know tomorrow.
Yeah, he could. So you're predicting a
No,
debut for him?
I'm just asking you.
No, I don't think so. For you, Harshit?
No, not at all. I
Yeah.
don't think he was added as a cover at best, and we know that. It's good for him that he got to spend a day or two, and he's going to be spending 5 more days at least with the Indian team before they come back. But nothing beyond that. Once you had a Dhruv Jurel, who for 2 test matches now, has been wicket keeping for you, he will definitely go ahead and be the one to bat for India now. He'll be the one. It's a straight swap.
Yeah.
And I am really looking forward to Dhruv Jurel. I wish him all the best. He's bailed out the Indian team on a couple of occasions, as we've seen in the past. Didn't really have a good time in Australia, but the sample size was too small. So excited to see him. However, the little disagreement that I have is from the 11 that we've gone ahead with. You may not perhaps bat him as high as 5. A Jadeja and a Sundar have been in a far greater form, and you will probably want to give him some sort of protection. But that's fine, Shivam. It can stay right there. I think the Indian team will be fluid about their lower batting order. The good thing is that they should have confidence about this batting order. That is something that you've lagged. I would have also liked to see a Kuldeep play, but given the England 11, given that stat as well, 131 wickets of the 150 last 5 matches of county at this venue have been to seam bowlers. Plus the fact that England for the first time in the series also, remember, have not named a specialist spinner. There was an Shoaib Bashir, beg your pardon, to begin the series with. He played 3 matches for you.
Yeah.
In the 4th match came a seasoned Liam Dawson. He is not to be seen in the playing 11. So I think when I look at the two things together, plus the green tinge, perhaps for the first time will also stay. I'll be surprised if with this 11 England go ahead and trim that surface off, which will not to be too bad an idea, because that obviously takes you to the kind of pitch that we saw in the first 2 matches, and we saw then it becomes like a 50-50 situation. One India, one England, one. So I'm not too sure if England want India to go ahead and bat too well as well. So this is what it is, but given the 11 that you've put, the fact that we need, the fact that we already know what the England 11 is, if we compare man to man, I think this Indian team has to go on to win this match. There could not perhaps have been a better opportunity for the Indian team to come to level terms in this series, and anything less than a win, even if it's a draw, I am saying that India will perhaps be the team that'll be kicking themselves. When you look at this 11 of England, it's the weakest 11. This was anyway an England team that we, from the start of the series, from as long as 5 weeks back, said that this is a weakened England team. This is not the England team that we expected, or as strong an England team that you thought to begin with will be the case. You played much stronger England sides. Since the turn of the century, we went as far ahead to say that this is the weakest England team since the turn of the century. Now in this series, I think this England side has weakened furthermore. It's another matter that you lost the first test match, and perhaps you could have been 3-0 up as well in this series, who knows. But now is the chance to draw level. That is bare minimum that you need to come back home with, because this England side doesn't scare me. I'll be honest, it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, and irrespective of the pitch conditions, even if it's a green deck, I would still feel that it's going to be an advantage for Indian bowlers more than England bowlers. I get the fact that all these England bowlers, they have basically been born and brought up in these kind of conditions. They know it better than anyone, but the experience and maybe the kind of skill that the Indian bowlers possess, with or without Bumrah, I think still it's going to be pretty fine for them, and they would start as favourites ahead of England on paper. So even yes, this playing 11 does make me a lot of give me a lot of confidence as far as India's 11 go. I think even if although we know that Bumrah is not really going to play, it's just some suspense that's being created here, that we'll take a call later.
I just want to know that from the two of you, would you in this 11, and I have a feeling India will probably be going ahead with this 11 only for the first time. I think our 11, or what we expect from India, will be exactly the same. Would you guys have played a Jasprit Bumrah who is half fit only?
No, I would not have.
+1 to Shashwat.
Because there's a risk of him pulling out in between the test match. Then I'll be a bowler short.
Yeah, correct. So, just from that perspective, you would rather want to go with someone who is 100% fit and has a very minimal chance of, being injured in the match. So that's the perspective. You guys let us know your, playing 11 for the Oval Test in the comment section, and we'll take that. But in the meanwhile, let's just see, what the viewers really have for us. Shivam, if you can take a few comments. All right. Okay, let's just stay here only. Nevin George has a question that why can't KL keep wickets and increase the batting order and add an extra batter, either Karun or someone else? I think that someone else that you're probably talking about is either Jagdishan or Abhimanyu Ishwaran, because these are the only 2 batters that India have apart from Karun Nair here. Personally, I don't mind KL Rahul wicket keeping. Let's just go back to 2023. There was a 2-test series against South Africa when you knew that you would not have Rishabh Pant and KS Bharat wasn't really showing that confidence with the bat in overseas conditions. You did go with KL Rahul as a wicket keeper. He did bat in the middle order, even scored that 100 and even was pretty fine with his wicket keeping too. But I think KL Rahul, there's a new role that has been given to him. He's going to be a permanent fixture in the slips cordon. He's going to be your most important batter, the most senior batter going on in the next 3 to 4 years or so in Test cricket. So he already has a lot of work to do, to be very honest, as the new senior member of this Indian cricket team. So would you really want to load him with that wicket keeping thing? I'm not really sure about it. There can be an argument that it's just going to be for one match, but I would not want to do it. It's better to invest in Dhruv Jurel. Personally, I have been a big backer of Jurel here because even if he is not wicket keeping, I would want to play him in the 11. But such is the dynamics of this Indian cricket team that Dhruv Jurel unfortunately cannot find a place in the 11 here because Rishabh Pant is doing so well, and probably same can be said for the other batters. So KL, yeah, I like the idea, but let's just, I think, stick with Pant and Jurel.
It's a very good idea, Nevin, I must say. However, there's also the thing, remember, it's not just here, but we've seen several reports as well where playing Jurel just as a batter has also been said in the past because of the promise that he has shown that England series will forever
Played as a batsman in Australia.
But again, I'm not going to be talking about that because that was just one instance that we saw. But in the England series, I think there you saw that Dhruv Jurel with that match fighting innings that we saw, 50 from him along with Shubman Gill. I think there in that series, he really made a mark as a batter as well, showed very good technique, especially against spin. This time around though, the challenge will be not to play the spin, but you want to look forward to him as a batter as well, purely because of the fact that he's shown good class with the bat. So no harm in fact playing him, and also give him more responsibility as well. He's been the one to fill in for a Rishabh Pant over the last couple of matches when Rishabh, first remember, he had that finger injury, then of course he hurt that foot of his right foot. So he's been there. He knows what the heat of the series is also like, where is it that it's peaking. He's used to those temperatures now, so have him there as a batter also.
Yeah. SAN has a comment that why Indian bowlers are always sidelined. There's no continuity in bowling department. Mukesh Kumar made a debut, but he was sidelined. Harshit Rana made a debut, he was sidelined. There should be consistency, playing this, whether they perform or not. This is something that we have discussed at length. It's not just for Harshit Rana, but for Mukesh Kumar also. He just got smacked around in that one Rajkot test against England, and he is nowhere to be found now. So that's the point, I think, with the selectors, that you would need to give, that consistency to the pace bowling department, because ever since, that Virat Kohli era wherein India literally flourished as a test team, you had a great bowling attack, but ever since, a couple of them aren't really a part of it now. There is no Umesh Yadav. Shami is still, out of the side now, has been out of the test team for about 2 years. Now even more than that, that successful transition hasn't really happened. So that in a way is a little unfortunate, and that's primarily because you have actually relied a lot more on Siraj and Bumrah, that the focus to develop the other fast bowlers or to give them that consistency has been really missing. And personally also, I think the selection in BGT was also full of blunders, because Siraj and Bumrah, they continue to be the workhorse. They did a lot of workload, and the other bowlers, they were just rotated around. So I think that's the point. Jay Krishnan has a comment here that consider a situation where India need to
go for
win. Whether India will force a win or draw this test and be satisfied with a 2-1 series defeat, just measuring aggression. See, sometimes 2-1 looks good on paper than 3-1, but in a bid to set the template of this team going ahead, would this team really mind losing 3-1?
I don't think they
I
will.
don't think so.
I don't think
Plus
they
one
will.
to Harshit.
Yeah, I think and I think uh, teams with elite mentality don't operate that way. You go for it. Simple as that. You ride a bit of luck. You take a little bit of risk. But if there's an opportunity to go for that win, go for that win. And for this team, this will mean a lot. Even if they come back 2-2, and that's the best result now possible for the Indian team, it will be a very very good result. Let's make no bones about it. So and looking at some of the personalities as well, if you ask, including the vice captain in Rishabh Pant, who will continue to have a say, I feel, a Gautam Gambhir and again, these are people who love winning. I don't think they're going to take a step back fearing that this is what it's going to ultimately look like. The ultimate scoreline is not going to dissuade this team from taking a little bit of risk here and there. They will go for the win if it is in sight.
Yeah.
Plus
Shashwat?
one.
Okay. I think a couple of more comments here. Yeah, Priyanshu is saying that India's best chance to do 2-2 without Stokes. He was the difference at Lords. He was. I think
the
he
best wicket taker in the series so far, even better than a
He's
Jasprit
now started to
Bumrah.
getting runs as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. So just from I think that perspective, Ben Stokes is a big loss. And look at England's bowling attack; it's clearly short on a lot of experience. There is no Archer now. There's no Braden Castu. So I think
Jamie
this
Overton is only one test match old.
yeah. So I think this is a best chance for India for that matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shivam, let's just go down, or maybe yeah. Let's just see that. I think there was something related to just here only. Saurav Kumar has a question that instead of Shardul, play a proper fast bowler if Gill doesn't have any confidence in him. The 2 tests he had played. I think
but you won't drop him because you want the batting from him.
yeah, that's the point. You are basically wanting to utilize whatever 30 or 40 runs that he can give
See,
you.
while I
just
agree,
a
you
few
have
overs.
enough reason to back your batters, but knowing the team management and their love for extra cushion in the batting department, I doubt they will go ahead and remove Shardul. Also, keeping in mind
Plus
the
one.
conditions as well.
Yeah, true. Nishal Shetty has a comment, has a question that is it a draw pitch like Ahmedabad? No, it's a complete opposite of it. It is a green deck and looks to be favoring the bowlers. But let's see, the final, maybe the pick of the pitch will probably, show you tomorrow itself, just maybe a couple of hours before the test. Anshu Mishra has a comment that said, I think India should go with this team. Jaiswal, Rahul, Sundar. Okay, Sundar at 3, Gill at 4, Jurel at 5, Jadeja 6, Kuldeep, Arshdeep, Krishna, Akashdeep and Siraj. I think what this is basically doing is that you're loading your team with a lot of fast bowlers. You already have Arshdeep, Krishna, Akashdeep and Siraj.
You're not doing this because you see last 5
Kuldeep
in that
at 7.
Exactly, last 5 are just bowlers in this team. I would have been fine with just 3 quicks and Jadeja, Kuldeep over there. Washi you've included in but I don't see there being Washi, Jadeja, Kuldeep, all 3 together plus 4 seamers on top of that. I think you're taking too much of a risk, and there's this batting only till number 6 then.
Yeah. Ashish there has a point that if this England team is weak, then why were our series prediction 3-1 in favor of England? That was basically before the beginning of the series. We all made our predictions. I said 3-1 in favor of England. What did you say?
I'd gone with 2-2.
3-2 in favor of India.
Yeah. So, and even I remember it was Siddharth said 2-2 in favor.
Siddharth said 2-2, Nikhil said 3-1.
Nikhil said 3-1. Nikhil and I had the same prediction. It was just before the beginning of the series, and I think whatever we saw of this Indian team, we clearly thought that they are a team in transition. There's going to be a lot that they would need to fix, in this playing 11. But the way they have played, they had clearly exceeded expectations. And despite all of that, whatever has happened in the series, I still stick to the prediction that I have made. I still feel that it could be 3-1, but if India managed to do it 2-2, then it's really going to be a great tour, because you look at the last 20-25 odd years, India's results in England haven't really been impressive. 2007, the last time you won a series. 2020-2021 was the last time when you managed to hold England to a 2-2 draw. So if this team can really do it, it's going to be nothing short of being monumental. Saurav Kumar has an interesting question that the Sydney pitch for the BGT, is it similar to the oval pitch?
Yes, Sydney pitch though was a surprise. It was
Yeah.
a surprise. It was the most uncharacteristic Sydney pitch that we saw. So much so, I remember last day, second last day, you were expecting if there to be Bumrah. The pitch had so much spice, and that's why you thought that even a half-fit Bumrah perhaps could get something out of that wicket. But it was the most uncharacteristic Sydney pitch that you saw. How is it that the oval looks like? Well, looking at the county record, I don't know. We all thought this would be a very dry wicket, less grass on it. But at the moment, it doesn't look like any of that. The numbers as well that I said, more wickets to the... In fact, heavily more in favour of the seamers as far as this wicket over this season of the county is concerned.
Yeah, yeah. Last two comments. Mr. Creator has a comment that India need to drop bits and pieces players, play genuine batters and bowlers for God's sake. What is Shardul doing in the team if he is bowling only 10 overs?
I think we can have a
not
longer
great
discussion on
selection.
this after the series.
I think we've
depending
already
upon
had a
the
lot of
result.
discussion on Shardul Thakur for that matter. That what his role is obviously that of an all-rounder, but bowling just about 8 to 10 overs in an innings.
I think you're keeping him for those 30, 40. Remember, you got that 41 as well. You're keeping him for
Yeah.
those runs.
True, true. Shivam, let's just scroll down. One more comment.
There's also good wishes coming Siddharth's way, who's being
Thank you.
congratulated by Austin Dikuna for Siddharth's upcoming book. Do keep close tabs of his social media handles. The book cover is already out. We've seen, we've taken a look at that and it looks very, very good. And congratulations on that note, Siddharth, once again to you.
Thank you so much. But let's take his comment also that as a fan, I have not lived an England series win with a young team. Transition not an excuse. Underachievement not winning in 18 years. How many will be there in 2029? That's a good question.
But it's
actually.
very difficult to say how many of them will be there
Yeah.
in 29. See, there will definitely not be a Ravindra Jadeja, that I can tell you.
True, they might not be even a KL Rahul for that matter.
KL Rahul
Bumrah definitely.
He's already in the second innings of his career, and I'm not saying KL Rahul is in the twilight of his career, but definitely the second innings of his career. Jasprit Bumrah, don't think so. You've probably seen him play his last test match in England. Anyone else from the bowling department? I doubt it's a bowling department.
I
in
don't think there'll be
transition.
Siraj, Prasidh,
Perhaps a Siraj,
Bumrah.
who will
Siraj
then
is already 31.
in that regard, again looks very difficult that
tough.
Siraj will also be back. So you don't know actually. A Pant for sure will be there, and you do expect Shubman Gill, Yashasvi I expect to be there.
Yeah. Last question. Shravan, will Karun Nair be given another chance? I don't think that's happening. I
Highly
think he's
unlikely,
probably played his last test.
I have a similar feeling as well, and I know many of you have a feeling that there's a few test series at home coming up. There's one against the West Indies, against South Africa as well. You're playing a couple of matches at home.
Yeah.
I think you've gone past a Karun Nair. You would have packed him for the whole series if you had to, but I don't see that logic or that being a logical argument that he will perhaps Indian conditions will suit him more. 3 matches there. Besides Lords, I think those first 2 wickets were very batter friendly. Everyone around him got 100. Players in the opposition camp also got 100 in the top order. Don't think it's happening. You've taken a call on him.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it. Anything
But
else?
join us tomorrow. Yes,
Yeah.
we're done with our big preview for this very exciting last test match. It's been a very heated series, so much so that until T-2 you had a controversy erupt involving not one of the players but involving the pitch curator and the Indian head coach in Gautam Gambhir. So there's been so many ingredients. It's the final act. The culmination of this series is going to happen over the next 5 days at the Oval Cricket Ground. All matches, by the way, till now have gone into the 5th day. You expect something similar for a series so finely contested. All wins have been so narrow. Just the one draw till now. We hope that the series lives up to the expectation. Tomorrow, though, unlike our regular programming in the middle of the two test matches, we're going to be seeing you live tomorrow, not at 6:15. Tomorrow 6:10. That is 5:30. In fact, that is when we'll meet you around this time. But remember, we're going to be joining you prior to toss as well. So 2:45 is when we see you here from the Sports Today studio. We will get you all the very latest, if there is another debut or not. Who knows? There is an Arshdeep who's been waiting for a while. We'll get you all reports as well. Rahul will be filing a report hopefully in a few hours from now from ground zero. He is going to be making his way from Birmingham, as you just would have heard him as well, to London, just stranded at the moment. But we'll see you tomorrow at 2:45. It'll be full house here in the Sports Day studio. Get your popcorn, get your beverage. We're going to be very excited as well. So join us for those 45 minutes as we build up to that last match. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us. Shubh Ratri, Shabba Khair. Take care, Nandri, eat your vegetables.
And don't trouble your mother. Bye.